You're watching Arkansas Style on KARK.
This segment is brought to you by Qual Choice Health Insurance. Welcome back to Arkansas Style. Summer is here, and if having fun in the sun is on your to-do list this season, then you need to add preventing heat-related illness to that list as well. Extreme heat and humidity can cause dehydration, heat stroke, and other heat sicknesses that can turn your summer fun into a trip to the emergency room if you're not careful. So today we have Barry Fielder, VP of Pharmacy at Qual Choice, here with some tips for staying safe as the temperatures rise. Thank you for being here, sir.
Well, thanks for having me.
Okay, well, sometimes I feel like, you can never get this message across too many times. So let's start with the one most important, keeping your body cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think a few things you can do to think through that. One, if you know you're going to be outside and you know you're going to be in the heat, think about what you're going to wear when you go outside. So you want to think about lightweight, light colored, and loose fitting clothing so that you're not restricted and allows you not to overheat as easily. I think also don't forget the sort of ancillary things like UV sunglasses, maybe a hat, a visor, or a helmet, depending on what outdoor physical activity you're going to be engaged in. As you think about your being outside and engaging in physical activity, perhaps exercise even, it's important to schedule those as you think through the day, and make sure that if you're going to be outside and you're able to schedule them, do them more in the early morning or late evening when it's not as hot and the temperature is a little cooler. Also, I would think you would want to pace yourself and just think about the fact if you've been working in the yard, you've been exercising in the spring, you may not be able to exercise or work at the same level of intensity when it's this hot. Also, wear sunscreen. We talk about that a lot. There are a lot of reasons to wear sunscreen, right? But also, one reason in addition to sort of dermatological reasons are sunburn can actually increase your body temperature and contribute to dehydration. So you want to make sure of that as well. I think another thing is if you know you're going to be outside, don't eat some big hot heavy meal because that can actually raise your body temperature as well. And of course, the easiest thing to do is to say, well, let's don't go outside, right? We want to stay in the air conditioning as much as we can. And so it's been shown that if you stayed in air conditioning for just a few hours a day, that can help sort of stave off some of the effects of heat-related illness. So you want to stay in as much as you can, but that's not always possible. And so if you have a home that's not air conditioned, let's say, think about the activities you're going to engage in that day, and if there are activities that are going to take you to air-conditioned spaces, then plan those maybe for the hottest part of the day. So let's say, for example, your home doesn't have air conditioning, but you know you've got to go to the grocery store. Well, plan that for the hottest part of the day because you know you're going to go to a nice, cool grocery store and get out of your hot home. I guess another thing I think about this time of year, we see these sort of tragic stories all the time of children or pets being left in a hot car. And so I would just say, another tip is to slow down a little bit and don't get so busy and so distracted that something like that happens. And then finally, we talk about staying inside and staying out of the heat, and sometimes we can make that decision, but oftentimes we can't because we have a job that causes us to work outside. And so I guess I would say there, perhaps consider sort of a buddy system where if you're with a coworker and you're working outside, sort of make a deal with them. Hey, I'll pay attention to you, you pay attention to me. Let's make sure we're not seeing any signs of heat-related illness. And if we do, we'll call that out and do the things we need to do to take care of that.
Great, awesome reminders. And if somebody could play this on repeat, until you memorize it yourself, incredible tips. What are some signs that people will notice if they are, facing heat exhaustion or a heat-related sickness?
Yeah, so there are different levels of that. So first you may start seeing some muscle cramps, because you've lost fluid, and so you may see muscle cramps. Then you may see your heart rate increasing. You may feel nauseated. You may get confused. You may be dizzy, those types of things. Cold, clammy skin. excessive sweating. So all of those things could be a sign of that. So you need to pay attention to them.
Yeah, and they sneak up on you quickly. Hydration, 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 right?
Yeah. Water, 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 right? So, when we think about that, we just need to drink water, and we probably always think we drink more water than we really are. And so if you're going to be outside, make sure you're going to drink plenty of water. If you're like me, sometimes I think, man, I just can't drink another glass or another bottle of water. And so at those times, you may want to think about adding some flavor to your water. And you can do that yourself. You can add some lemon slices or lime slices or orange slices or something, mint leaves, something to add a little flavor to your water. Maybe even use some frozen berries to replace your ice cubes to keep your water cold, to add some flavor there. I think another thing that we need to think about this time of year is kids are out of school, right? And so they may be outside playing for longer periods of time, engaged in sporting activities. At times of the day, maybe they aren't when they're in school. And so we need to make sure and be aware as parents and coaches and to make sure that they're staying hydrated and drinking their water as well. And then, of course, we mentioned pets earlier. Let's make sure we keep some fresh water in a cool place for our pets that are outside as well.
Yeah, because they can't speak for themselves, for sure.
Exactly.
Okay, there's a couple more tips that we want to touch on, and where we can get some good information.
Yeah, so just make sure that you're checking in on senior adult neighbors or family members that may be more susceptible to heat-related illnesses that may not be aware of the signs. So always keep a check on them. And I think there are lots of resources out there. Lots of resources. The CDC has a lot of good information on heat-related illnesses. The Department of Agriculture, surprisingly, has a really good resource on hydration and some tips there. And so there's just a lot of information there. So take advantage of that. Educate yourself and really pay attention, plan ahead, watch the local weather, watch KARK to see if there's, what's the forecast looking like, are there heat advisories for tomorrow, and plan accordingly. And if we do all those things and kind of follow these tips, as you said, memorize them, keep them at the forefront of our minds, and we can have a really fun summer, but also a safe summer.
Such great information. One more, I would share this segment with all your friends and family. You really did an incredible job explaining a lot of these things that, maybe we've heard from Mom before, but you brought it fresh in our minds. Thank you very much for that.
All right, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Well, there you have it. All of these tips are such simple tips, but extremely effective ways to stay healthy all summer long and avoid any unwanted trips to the ER. So make sure to hydrate, apply that SPF, and head over to qualchoice.com for more tips and tricks on beating the summer heat. And when we return, Joan Dudley with a simple arrangement will give us the lowdown on edible flowers before she helps me arrange our 4th of July butterboard. Stay with us. You're watching Arkansas Style.